Chapter One Wedge. Let us also say that when the Jia family is in decline, the building will collapse and all the causes of the past will be exposed one by one. Will there be less private affairs in this deep house? Even passers-by know that in Rongning's second mansion, only the stone lion at the door is relatively clean. It is human nature to seek advantages and avoid disadvantages. In order to survive for a while, the Jia family must let someone come out and take the blame. Under the dim light, Jia Lian held an old silk skirt in her hands, with a cold expression that sounded like gritted teeth. Sister Foam inside heard the noise and saw the silk skirt and was horrified. That's not the skirt of that bitch, you sure? According to Wang Shifeng's character, she wanted to jump up and curse at Jia Lian. Unfortunately, she was so sick that she didn't even have the strength to move a finger. She could only watch Jia Lian approach with a sullen face. Jia Lian smiled particularly ferociously and caressed Wang Shifeng's face with seemingly affectionate hands. Second Grandma Lian, my good second grandma. Such a strange situation made Wang Shifeng want to hide and defend, but she could only make a vague grunt in her throat. Humph. Jia Lian sneered a few times and then grabbed Sister Feng's neck suddenly. Second Grandma, don't worry, I will let my husband take you to the west. Wang Shifeng, who was already sick and only breathed out, could not bear this, so he couldn't take a breath and died. Since ancient times, fierce ghosts have been afraid of evil people, and Wang Shifeng is so rigid that no ghost dares to take her in. She saw with her own eyes that her body was wrapped in a torn mat by 3 or 2 boys and thrown into a mass grave, where it was devoured by wild dogs and cats, which added a bit of resentment to her soul. She hovers around the Jia family all day long and never leaves. If this persists, there will be a problem. She, Wang Shifeng, thought she had nothing to do against the Jia family, but the Jia family couldn't do anything to her. It didn't matter that she really died without a burial place. When the Saint investigated the faults of the Jia family, the faults of the Jia family actually became her Wang family's Shifeng problem. Forget about lending money, exploiting usury, and soliciting lawsuits. She, Wang Shifeng, is not that clean, but the issue of siding with the central government is also thrown at her. Are you fooling a saint or a ghost? How could a woman like her interfere in major affairs of the DPRK? Although all the bastards of the Jia family were exiled, Wang Shifeng's resentment only deepened day by day because of one person, Sister Qiao. Her sister, who was raised by Wang Shifeng, was actually sold to the shady land of fireworks by her treacherous brother, and no one from the Jia and Wang family came to help. I, Wang Shifeng, am just a little stricter with my servants, but I can't forgive you grandmas and young masters. The angry Wang Shifeng condensed the resentment around her into reality, and finally transformed from an evil ghost into an evil spirit. Idiot, idiot. Why bother? A Taoist priest rode a crane, and I came looking for grievances. Do you know what you have done? You have tortured yourself to death. Humph. It's a good thing? Is it considered a good thing that my Qiao sister was sold to the land of fireworks? Wang Shifeng's resentment went straight to the sky. How can this be considered a good thing? How can I not complain? How can I not hate? The Taoist shook his head and threw down a water mirror. Just take a look. I saw in the mirror that Sister Qiao was redeemed from the brothel by Grandma Lu and later married Banner. So, can you let it go? Wang Shifeng's smile became even more arrogant. When you marry into the countryside with golden branches and jade leaves, how can I say hello to you? Presumptuous. The Taoist was finally annoyed and took out a gold bracelet to stop Wang Shifeng. The cycle of cause and effect in the world. One drink and one peck has its own destiny. If you don't accumulate evil virtues, how can you still expect everything to go well? Why not? My fate is up to me. I have been careless in this life. If the environment were changed, I would naturally be different. Wang Shifeng, who was immobilized, continued to be arrogant. The angry Taoist formed a mysterious hand seal and pushed Wang Shifeng to the place of rebirth. I'm here to see how you do this. I can't help but choose my fate. Seeing the struggling Wang Shifeng slowly sinking into the door of rebirth, the Taoist softened his heart. He drew a clear spring from the jade bottle. I will give you a spiritual spring and store it in a gold bracelet. It can strengthen your body and detoxify and save your life. But remember, this spring water can only be used once by one person. If you use it multiple times, it will be ineffective. If you meet your former sisters after rebirth, you can save them if you can. It's an injustice. It's all the police illusion. Chapter 2 Rebirth. The fastest update to the latest chapter of Red Mansion, Wife's Counterattack Era. Accompanied by the Taoist sigh, Wang Shifeng felt like she was soaking in a ball of dark warm water. As soon as she moved her hands and feet, she was squeezed out by a strong force. She tried to open her eyes, but the light blinded her. In the hazy state, she only felt someone wiping her body, and then she was wrapped in a blanket. Will I meet my parents again? Wang Shifeng couldn't help but recall the time when she was unmarried in the Wang family. As the only daughter of the Wang family at the time, she lived a leisurely and comfortable life, and her parents' love allowed her to be raised as a boy since she was a child. Sir, my wife has given birth to a baby girl. Sister? The male voice didn't sound happy, and it sounded a bit disappointed. How could it be sister? Aunt Wang, bring it to me for a look. The midwife must have made a mistake. A weak and anxious female voice sounded. What's going on? It seems that his parents are not happy about his birth. Wang Shifeng opened her eyes suddenly and stared blankly at the man holding her. That man was not her father, Wang Zixing. Where have all the girls and women died? No one has come to drag this lawless thing down. Wang Shifeng said subconsciously. Although she has been reborn, she is still the decisive Feng Lotzi in her bones. It's just that she forgot that she was still a baby, and she could only cry wow 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 when she opened her mouth. The man did not hand Wang Shifeng over to Grandma Wang, who came over, but said to himself, Madam, don't worry, our sister will naturally be taken care of by the nanny. She has bright eyes and a loud cry. I think she will have great fortune in the future. How powerful can a newborn baby be? After crying, Wang Shifeng quickly fell into a deep sleep with the nurse nursing and comforting her. When she woke up again, the lights were on in each room. Our wife has a hard life, having given birth to 2 sisters in a row. The old lady must not be good-looking anywhere. When faced with a baby, people will not be defensive at all. Seeing Wang Shifeng not crying or making trouble, they are also happy to chat. As servants, it's better not to talk about the master. The person who spoke was the nanny Zhou. Judging from her voice, she should be a gentle and polite person. Although Wang Shifeng in her previous life repeatedly called Jia's family a middle-class family, she was actually very proud of its luxurious style. Otherwise, she would not have demolished the east wall to make up for the west wall and used her dowry to supplement the middle-class family to maintain that dignity. She looked at the slightly elegant furnishings around her and couldn't help but pursed her lips. Through the conversation between the wet nurse and the woman next to her, Wang Shifeng knew that the family she was reborn in was named Li, and they were from a wealthy family in Jinling. The master was an official in Beijing, and she had a sister named Zhijier. Her mother was the wife of the principal wife. Although there were no concubines in the family, the situation might be broken due to the birth of 2 sisters in a row. Why did you come to the house to be a wet nurse? Isn't it good to be a nurse in the village? It's a good thing that Sister Ji is the nurse. After all, she is the eldest daughter, and the old lady loves her, so her future must be good. The second sister is neither good nor bad here, so why bother? The woman said more and more enthusiastically. Zhou said calmly, So, what about the second sister? The master has personally praised her and said that she has great fortune. You are really stupid to say that you're stupid. The woman wiped her mouth. My wife has given birth to 2 sisters. The master is not in a hurry, but the old lady is. The first sister can bloom first and bear fruit later, but what about the second one? The old lady and the madam will definitely not be happy. No matter how good fortune is, you can't surpass the eldest sister, and how big a future can you have? Speaking of great fortune, Wang Shifeng thought of the Jia family's precious egg jade and the golden bracelet that the Taoist used to anchor her before her rebirth. Could it be that she was born with a gold bracelet? Wang Shifeng moved hurriedly and became anxious when she saw that there was indeed a hollow Moor bracelet on her left hand. After living an extra life, she didn't want to bear such a useless reputation. "Mommy, please go back and have a rest. My sister is awake and needs to nurse. It would not be nice if she starts crying and scares the master and his wife." Seeing the movement on Wang Shifeng's side, Zhou picked up Wang Shifeng and ordered her to be kicked out. During the breastfeeding process, Wang Shifeng noticed that Mrs. Zhou ignored the gold bracelet on her hand and then realized that only she could see the bracelet. It was really a rare treasure from the immortal family, not comparable to the broken piece of jade. Although the baby girl couldn't really greet the adults, Mrs. Zhou still carried Wang Shifeng to each room according to etiquette to say hello, but Wang Shifeng didn't wake up at all when she went to the old lady. Wang Shifeng woke up under the teasing of her current father. There was a 4 or 5-year-old sister next to her, who must be the sister Ji in the mouth of the servants. The 4 or 5-year-old child did not open his mouth, but Wang Shifeng felt that it looked very familiar, but she had never known anyone named Li Ji in her previous life. "Have you eaten, madam?" After receiving a positive reply from the servant, Master Li asked Mrs. Zhou to pick up Wang Shifeng, and he held Sister Ji's hand and said, "Father, take your sisters to find your mother." Although the delivery room was unlucky, Mr. Li didn't care and went in anyway. Seeing the gloomy expression on his wife's face, he understood what was going on. For a family like ours, only those who are 40 years old and have no children can take a concubine. Why should my wife worry? In the master's mind, am I such a jealous person who doesn't care about the overall interests of my children? Mrs. Lichin forced a smile. "I am worried about our sister. Lest because I gave birth to 2 sisters in a row, the old lady will not like our second sister. 4 and 5-year-old children don't know much. Eating, drinking, and having fun are the main content of their lives. Sister Ji is also precocious and knows her parents are worried. When her parents mentioned the old lady, she took the initiative and said, 'Grandma likes my sister so much that she even gave her a name.'" Mr. Li smiled and said, "My mother gave my sister the word dandy based on her seniority. The Li family can be regarded as a scholarly family, and the Qin family is also a famous lady, so I feel a little unhappy when I hear the name. Dandy, no matter what the meaning of the word dandy is, it always sounds unattractive. In a family like ours, although we are heirlooms of poems and books, my sister and son are girls after all. Poetry and calligraphy skills are enough, and the 4 books for women should be read thoroughly. The most important thing for a woman is her feminine virtues and female popularity." Mr. Li felt a little embarrassed when he thought about it, but he still tried to make it right. "The word one has the same meaning as jijier. I hope they can be good at needlework and weaving, and be a virtuous and gentle woman." Li Wan. This name was a blow to Wang Shifeng. Her family name was Li, and she had a sister named Li Ji, so she should have guessed it. As a sister-in-law, Wang Shifeng felt that she had nothing to do with Li Wan, but Li Wan was very unkind and unjust. In the previous life, Sister Qiao was killed. As an elder, Li Wan had no money and no effort. He was not as affectionate, righteous, and responsible as Grandma Lu, an old lady from the country. The body of a newborn baby is already fragile. When Wang Shifeng gets emotional, her body is holding her breath. Before she loses her mind, she has only one thought. No matter how unbearable I, Wang Shifeng, am, I will never be the stingy and heartless person that Li Wan is. "Mom, my sister's face is so red." Sister Ji's joke caught the adults' attention. The Li family's master and his wife found that their little daughter had lost her temper, and her little face turned red from suppressing it. After a violent fight, Wan Jier recovered her breathing, but she never regained consciousness. If a baby cannot tolerate medical acupuncture, it will not be well if it does not wake up, and it will basically not survive if it cannot take milk. The female members of the Li family wiped tears from their eyes, and finally, Mrs. Li spoke. I'm afraid this is the fate brought by my sister's birth. If she can survive it, she will be destined to be the sister of our Lee family. If she can't survive it, it can only be said that she is not blessed in life. It's easy to get together and get away easily. Li Shouzhong was a filial son. Since his mother had spoken, he would not force her to ask for anything. He could only cold-heartedly leave sister Wan to the care of the nanny, chant sutras and chant Buddha's words with Chun, and pray for the blessings of the Buddha and God. This was regarded as fulfilling the fate of father and daughter. As for Mrs. Chun, although she was also distressed, she also knew that the existence of this daughter was not embarrassing. If she died so cleanly, it might be her sister's blessing. It is said that children are the pieces of flesh that fall from the mother's body, but people's hearts are always biased. Between the two pieces of flesh, there is always a more precious piece. Chapter 3: Life After Waking Up. The fastest update to the latest chapter of Red Mansion, Wife's Counterattack Era. Wang Shifeng, who fainted, was not completely unconscious. She could hear everything happening outside. She would rather be a brand new stranger than be reborn as Li Wan. In Wang Shifeng's eyes, becoming a stranger means a new beginning. She can regain control of everything about herself. This is what she believes in her heart. And being reborn as Li Wan probably means that she will be inextricably linked to the Jia family again and live in the shadow of the Jia family. Humph. Don't ever say that I have no control over my fate. I'm ashamed of you. The voice of the man rang in Wang Shifeng's mind again. You are just afraid. With the mentality of living one more life, you will naturally not be afraid of being reborn as yourself. Today, when you are reincarnated as Li Wan, you are afraid that things will get out of control. You are afraid that you will not be able to bear the life of the Li family. You are afraid that you will be in an embarrassing situation and will not win the love of the master and the ladies. You are afraid that you'll be like Li Wan in the previous life, marrying into the Jia family and becoming a widow. You looked down on Li Wan in your previous life, thinking that as an eldest grandmother, she could not take care of her husband-in-law, and she was not loved by the wives. She had no support from her natal family, was not strong-willed, was manipulated by the servants, and was cold and stingy. But he survived in such an environment and raised Langer into an adult. And you are loved by everyone. You are the famous Foam Lotzi and female Zhuge. In this situation, you are so scared that you can't even survive. I'm too embarrassed to mention anything anymore. My fate is up to me. I have wasted your opportunity. Such an agitation made the clay figurine very angry, and Wang Shifeng immediately retorted. Who said that my aunt is afraid? Even if I am Li Wan, my aunt can still be successful and prosperous. Just watch. After saying this, Wang Shifeng's soul was truly in tune with Li Wan's body. In today's world, there is no longer the Wang Shifeng of the past, but only a brand new Li Wan. Li Wan, whose soul had returned to his body, heard his nanny's cries as soon as he woke up. The nanny Zhou also had a hard life. She hurt her body while giving birth to her son. The farmer's family had no money to take care of her. She could not regenerate, and the brothers she desperately gave birth to died. Her mother-in-law called her a loser and kicked her out. She finally found a job as a nanny in the house, but the little master had another problem with the nanny. Now, although Mrs. Zhou is crying that her life is too tough and she has harmed her young master, she still does not give up even when all the serious masters of the Li family have given up. Li Wan's life now depends on her smearing milk and rice soup on Li Wan's lips according to the meal. Although Li Wan was in a coma and couldn't eat, he still managed to save his life. Otherwise, the body will be useless and the soul will not be saved even if it returns. Li Wani, who had just woken up, was as weak as a kitten, but Ms. Zhou still cried with joy, regardless of the rumors that others said her breasts were not big. When Mrs. Li heard this, she recited a Buddhist chant. This child was born with such a calamity. Since he woke up, it means he is really blessed and blessed. At the same time, she also nodded to people and said to Mr. Zhou, "Your wife has not yet given birth, and I don't care about the affairs of the back house. You must not be negligent because the master is young and frail. It will be your benefit to raise the master. It turns out that the girls and ladies made trouble with Li Wan, firstly because of her embarrassing status, and secondly because they were looking at her because she was young and ignorant. But I never expected that the old lady would treat her differently because she had survived the disaster, and the little naughty sister Shinzi was a soul who had lived for more than one lifetime. Of course, such a comparison shows that the nanny Zhou is a polite person. After hearing what the old lady said, Mr. Zhou didn't become arrogant. Li Wan's vitality was also damaged after this incident. Zhou drank a lot of bitter medicinal juice for this purpose, just to have some medicinal power in the milk to help her sister recover. When she was Wang Shifeng in her previous life, she didn't value her wet nurse. Instead, her whole family was sent to Zhuangzi because she was the mother of a big-hearted girl. Although Jia Lian's nanny went out to raise her, the family often used Jia Lian's identity as a means of arrogance and prosperity. In addition, the nannies of Baoyu, Daiyu, and others are also old people who rely on their old age, drink, gamble, and make money. The nanny of Yingchen is even more ostracizing, harming the public and enriching private life. Now that she meets such a loyal nanny, she can't help but feel a little moved. She is the most protective of shortcomings and will never let down the nanny's loyalty. Since she was reborn, the current Li Wan is naturally compared to the Li Wan in her previous life. Moreover, she has always been arrogant and would never want to end up with her heart as dead as a tree and her remaining lonely life. A single move can affect the whole body. If you want to change things and launch a counterattack by Li Wan, you have to make plans from the beginning. Children change a lot, one day at a time. The experience in his previous life made Li Wan used to like the old lady now. From the time she started babbling, she let the wet nurse take her to greet the old lady no matter what. Warner gives my regards to Grandma. Li Wan said the sentence most smoothly now, but it was already rare enough for a child under 1 year old. Li Wan was young and slept a lot. By the time she came to the old lady, Sister Ji, who was already 6 years old, had already arrived. It's already this hour, and my sister said hello. Li Ji pursed his lips and smiled, his big eyes blinking. Because Li Wan was once unconscious, Li Xiaozhong, and Mrs. Li felt pity with a somewhat compensating attitude. No matter how sensible Li Ji is, he is still a child. Although there has never been any conflict between the sisters, there is always jealousy. When Li Wan heard this, he hid in Zhou's arms, looking like a shameful little man. Jealousy and bickering between sisters seemed to be a fun thing. Mother Li smiled and said, "Bring Sister One up here yet. This little person actually knows what greetings are." She looked at Li Ji again and said, "As a sister, you have to argue with your sister." Hearing this, Li Wan, who climbed into Mother Li's arms, secretly made a face at Li Ji. Li Ji picked up a piece of hibiscus cake and teased Li Wan. "Wana, please tell me what greetings are." "Eat cake." Li Wan stretched out his little hand to reach for it. Li Ji hid the cakes behind his back. "Grandma, look, Waner doesn't even know what greetings are. She only remembers eating snacks." "Cake. Cake." Li Wan tugged on Li's mother's lapel, but he knew how to do it and didn't use any force. Mother Li hugged Li Wan again and said, "Little ancestor, you have shaken Grandma. Grandma will give you cakes and cakes." Li Wan bit his finger and said, "I want it for my sister." Mother Li laughed. Looking at the child, he still misses his sister. Here you go." Li Ji also knew that it was embarrassing for him and his sister to argue over a cake, so he held the hibiscus cake in a handkerchief and fed it to Li Wan. Li Ji was not used to feeding people, and Li Wan had never been fed in such an unskilled manner. A piece of cake was stained on his face, hands, and handkerchief. But the two sisters, one older and one younger, all looked at Mother Li and said, "I'm very good. Come and compliment me on my appearance." Monkeys, there are really two monkeys, one big and one small. I really don't know who they look like. Mother Li laughed even harder. Aunt Zhang is Mother Li's companion, and she is very famous in the house. She also smiled and said, Both sisters are excellent. It's really sisterly love. The old lady is blessed. In the evening, Li Shouqing, the second master of the Li family, came back from outside. Congratulations to mother! Congratulations to mother! Today my brother has been appointed by the emperor to be an editor at the Hamlin Academy. He glanced at Mrs. Chun, who was preparing to serve the meal. I'm going to trouble my sister-in-law later. My brother has been promoted, so he must have a lot of entertainment. The Li family is also an aristocratic family in Jinling, and Li's mother, Zhang, is from the same family as the current queen. Unfortunately, Li's mother lost her husband early in her life and raised her two sons with the family property. Now the eldest son has been promoted, and the younger son is also a high-ranking official. Finally, she has a feeling of living up to the ancestors of the Li family. Mother Li looked at the children and grandchildren in the hall with satisfaction. Sister One will be 1 year old in 2 days, so we just take the opportunity to give her a big party. Chapter 4 Catch Zhou Banquet. The fastest update to the latest chapter of Red Mansion, Wife's Counterattack Era. For parents, their children are their pride. Mrs. Chun, Mrs. Li, was even more happy when she heard that her mother-in-law was going to celebrate her husband-in-law with Sister One's birthday party, because this banquet not only took care of her husband's condition, but also made her sister look good. After arranging various aspects of the banquet, Mrs. Chen's main attention was focused on her youngest daughter. After all, this is Li Wan's Zhou banquet in name, so the protagonist must be conspicuous, and there will naturally be masters and uncles to entertain the men. Although Ms. Chen always thinks her children are the best, she cannot neglect dressing up because of this. Children have different clothes every day, and the clothes they have just made will become too small. It is too late to make a new set, so Chun can only choose from the existing clothes. Taking Sister Ji with her, Mrs. Chen almost went through Li Wan's clothes. After nearly a year of nursing, Li Wan now looks healthy and pleasant, with a round, white, and pink face. Mrs. Chen was very satisfied with the dress Li Wan. I saw a small scarlet gown with golden teeth, a small silver-red arm covering the outside, and a small crimson skirt embroidered with large cloud patterns. Most children wear red and green, which symbolizes wealth and happiness. Although Li Wan is young now, he can't suppress his good looks, so he just wears dark and light red to give him a different temperament. Red is actually the most attractive color, and if you don't wear it well, it will be too vulgar. However, Xiao Li Wan's outfit is not only a bit innovative, but also noble and generous, and it also reveals a bit of the elegance of a scholarly family. In the previous life, Li Wan was the daughter of the Wang family. There was a shortage of white jade beds in the East China Sea, so the Dragon King came to invite the king of Jinling, and he was also the daughter-in-law of the Jia family. White jade is the gold of the palace, and she had seen a lot of good things. Although living in the Li family made her understand to some extent the heritage of a scholarly family, she was still somewhat dissatisfied materially. Let's just say that although the clothes on her body are all well made and priceless, the ones on the outside are not as good as those made on the inside. The Jia family will not care about what exceeds the rules, but as the Li family, who understand etiquette and law, they will never have such a problem, so there is a gap in material terms. While Li Wan was lost in thought, Li Ji spoke. Looking at the gold-rimmed teeth on my sister, it would be most suitable to match it with a gold collar. Why does a mother choose a good one? Your sister is young, and the collars are very heavy. I'm afraid she won't be able to bear it, so I don't wear them. Ms. Chen stood up with a smile and found a Nama box. Look, mother has something else for her. When I opened the box, I saw a beautiful ingluo inside. The top of the ingluo was made of hui, Wen's craftsmanship. Li Wan was shocked, thinking that the old lady was the only one in the Jia family who had the Huiyuan objects in her hands, and even though Bao Yu was so favored, she was not even given 1 or 2. Madam, this is your dowry. Aunt Fong, Chen's companion, looked very surprised. Yes, Mrs. Chen stroked the texture of ingluo with a very nostalgic expression. My father and mother gave this to me back then, so why not if I give it to my daughter now? That's not what I mean. Aunt Fong was a little anxious. The wisdom pattern on the Yingluo is just that. It just has a good reputation and is not uncommon in Jiangnan. The key is the Z bead hanging under the Yingluo. The old man found it from the west. I'm afraid the nine-eyed Z bead cannot be used on a child. And the girl is young, so it is not economical to bump into it. Mrs. Chen smiled again. It's just an object. How much you wear it is to ask for permission. It doesn't matter if the object knocks against it, as long as it doesn't touch my sister Wan. Because Li Wan was young, everyone didn't shy away from talking to her. Mrs. Chen turned to weaving again. The elder sister said, "Your sister is young, ignorant, and doesn't know the value of things. Now you have learned a lot from me, and you also know the value of these things. Don't blame your mother for being partial. I have suffered sins before, so I will inevitably take more care of you." Although there is a lot of joking between the sisters, Li Ji is never ambiguous when it comes to important matters. She behaves like a little adult. Jir knows that a sister should let her sister take care of her. Li Wan had been in a daze since Mrs. Chun took out Ding Luo. After hearing this conversation, he was even more moved. In the Jia family, everyone was fighting like a black-eyed chicken for a little benefit. It was